Hello, hope you're well and happy. Today's class is going to be on meeting the inner child. It's a basic work that we do in our seminars, which is difficult to do on the internet, especially just a lecture. We usually have a 1 week live-in seminar where people are here, sleep overnight, and we work all day long on regressions and inner child work. So this is just an introduction. It's not so much for you to actually heal any inner child situations. We're going to show it how it can be done. So this is just an introduction. Inner child work usually requires the help of a professional experienced in this work. Some professionals are not. Seek one in your area. But for more information on the subject, you can send us an email to ren@otenet.gr with the title Inner Child, and I will send you this link so that you can learn more. So some general false perceptions developed in our childhood years. You may have remembered the story I told about the lion cub that grew up with the sheep and became programmed like a sheep and believed that it was in danger and it was not powerful and that it was always fearful. And that's pretty much how we are growing up in a society that has programmed us to feel fearful and not powerful and not worthy. Some of the false assumptions that we may have developed in our childhood years. You are in danger of microbes, cold, heat, people, dust, mold, animals, insects. Some of these may be dangerous, but the more we believe they are, the more we create that reality. And it's known now that children that are protected from all kinds of microbes are much more susceptible to become ill later on in life than those who are able to play in the dirt and take in all kinds of substances which create a strong immune system. These images are from a study done where children were allowed to play in the snow in their bathing suits, as opposed to these children who are well covered. And they found that these children, we did this study for about a few months, became much stronger. They had a stronger immune system. When they painted, when they drew, they filled out all the page with many colors. It increased their sense of power, of strength. So many times our programming as children has caused us to feel weak and unable. The second programming is that we do not know. We do not know how to think, how to choose what to eat, how to choose friends, how to study, what to do. We need to listen to others to tell us what to do. The third is that we are not capable to care for ourselves, to do things, to make decisions, to make choices, to build things, to take on responsibilities. Thirdly, that we are worthy only under certain conditions, depending on our appearance, our results, how others perceive us and behave towards us, our financial and professional situations. We are programmed to believe that our self-worth is not absolute. It depends on these external factors. We are programmed to believe that we are to blame for other people's emotions, health, and happiness, and that they are to blame for ours. Now, this is the perfect dead end, okay? Because we cannot create other people's reality. So how could I be to blame for something I cannot create? And others are not responsible for our reality. And so how can they be for blame for that? Now, some experiences that may have obstructed your ability to create the life that we deserve and desire. Now, you might want to do an initial analysis, but remember, you need to have a guide to go through this process. Write the experiences you remember. Add a little every day. They do not need to be in chronological order. You can write in the first person or third person. I did this about 50 years ago, about 45 years ago, and I wrote in the third person. I got 200 pages of writing experiences that I could remember. and I saw many patterns in my life. Ask others what they remember, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Look at old photographs. You can start having, people say, I don't remember. Once you start this process, the memories start coming forward, okay? Now, here's a list of possible experiences you may have, and in some of those, we will mention possible false assumptions. Was there someone who got angry with you, scolded you, rejected, or accused you? Okay, so that's a terrifying experience for a child. And what do we assume? This is what I deserve. It's my fault. When others are angry with me, it's my fault. When others are angry, I am in danger. So we don't think, these people have problems. They're unhappy. I'm a divine being. I'm worthy. I'm safe. These are not the assumptions we make as children. We make these kinds of assumptions that you can see here, and they follow us through life, and we recreate those situations. Were there people who fought among themselves or rejected or hurt one another? Again, we can feel that it's our fault, especially if they're fighting over us. And we can also feel that we're in danger, especially if our two sources of security are fighting between each other, between themselves, such as our parents. Have you ever experienced a feeling of abandonment, perhaps because of the death or separation of parents? Were you ever left alone or felt that others did not understand you, were distant, aloof, or that there was no support? Assumptions. I'm not worthy of love. Otherwise, they would be there, right? They wouldn't leave. My life will be like this. They will leave me. Love hurts. I will always be alone. Better not to risk creating a relationship. So once we have a traumatic experience with abandonment, we fear it. And often what we do in this case is we test the other person to see, are they going to stay? If we're negative, if we do this, will they stay? If we do the other, will they stay? And sometimes we manage to get them to leave, not because they want to, but because we're so negative in our attempt to test them. Did you ever feel the need for more affection, tenderness, or expression of love? I think all of us have felt we're insatiable in this case. The assumptions, I do not deserve love, I am a victim, I will not have what I need, safer not to risk loving if we didn't get as much affection and tenderness that we wanted. Were there persons in your environment who are often ill or spoke often of illness? This can create the belief that I'm in danger myself of becoming ill. It can also create the belief that I should become ill because I was probably not happy that the others were ill. I probably was angry or upset or wished they weren't that way and had negative feelings for them. So now I think I have to be punished. And also I should not be happy or well because if they're not well, it's not proper for me to be happy, to play, to laugh. Okay? So having an ill person can create all of these beliefs. Fear of becoming ill, fear that we deserve to become ill, and fear of being happy. Did you ever experience the feeling of humiliation in the presence of others or connection with others? All of these are written into our subconscious minds if they happen. And they affect how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive others in our interaction with others. Were you ever compared to others as to whether you are less or more capable or worthy in connection with which abilities or character traits? So we all are compared. We all tend to compare. We start comparing ourselves and feeling higher or lower depending how we compare. And it's interesting that even if we're told that we're better, that creates a problem also because we have the need to continuously be better and we feel they're not worthy if we're not better. Ever lost a loved one? This is another issue that some may want to deal with if we haven't healed that experience. And so we will fear losing loved ones. Did anyone ever approach you sexually without your consent? Possible beliefs, I'm dirty, I am not worthy, I am in danger of others. And this is a complicated thing because one might even feel guilt because one might have felt self-worth because the other person is paying attention to me. And then when we share that with family and they don't react in the way we felt they needed to react to protect us, then we also are upset and feel rejected. So there's a lot of fear, guilt, anger, hurt, anxiety around such an experience. These need to be healed. And energy psychology is a major way of doing this, especially the TAT exercise and EFT and BSFF. Were you ever aware of your parents or anyone else making love? How did you feel and what did you think? The sounds people make sometimes making love can be fearsome for a child. We might even think that they're fighting. And if there's anything registered in the subconscious, you might want to heal that with these techniques. Did your parents ever state that you were the only reason they continued staying together? And that had been a big sacrifice on that part? Or did you ever tell you that they have sacrificed a great deal for your sake and that you are indebted to them? This is not unusual, and I understand the parents and I understand the children. Why don't you ask them for how much you are indebted and pay them? And it's a joke, of course. But the fact is that the only thing we really owe to our parents is love and respect, and to help them when they need us. We don't owe to them to live our lives as they would like us to live our lives. We don't owe that to anybody. We do owe them love, gratitude, respect, and support whenever they need us. But we do not need to live our lives according to their belief systems. That has nothing to do with our purpose here. Did they ever accuse you of being the cause of their unhappiness or illness or problems? What did they mean it was your fault? Possible assumptions: I'm not worthy, it is my fault, better not to have responsibilities or relationships. I think all of us have had this experience. All of these can be healed with energy psychology much more effectively than just talking about it. Did they ever tell you that you are not going to achieve anything in your life, that you are lazy or incapable or dumb? I am not worthy, I am not able, or I must prove myself. One can take this and cut himself or herself off from doing anything in life, make that a reality, or we can become so engaged in proving that they're not right that we get lost in the effort to prove our self-worth and our ability, and may even lose our health. Were you ever caught playing with your genitals, alone or with others, and that make you feel guilty for that? So I am dirty, unworthy, sex is evil. This is a common experience for most children. I don't know if it's traumatic for most children, but it could have been. If so, energy psychology can help us get free from this. Did they often speak about guilt and punishment, either from some person, parent, police, or God? So we might believe that I'm an evil sinner, God does not love me, I must be punished, and I do not deserve, fill in the blank, what you don't deserve. So if we heard that a lot, we're believing we're sinners, we're believing we're in danger, that someone is going to punish me, and that we need to be punished. We may even engage in punishing ourselves. Not unusual. Did any teacher ever make you feel humiliated in front of the other children? So I am not worthy, I am not intelligent, better to avoid being noticed. Another traumatic experience that can be healed with these techniques. In the company of other children, did you ever feel rejection or inferiority? So this is another traumatic experience as children, feeling rejection or inferior. Were you ever told that you are responsible for your siblings or for others in general, and that whatever happens to them is your responsibility? And then we grow up feeling responsible for everyone in our lives. Were you ever made to understand by some way, negatively or positively, that in order for someone to be acceptable and lovable, one must be better than others, first at everything, perfect, without faults, intelligent, handsome or beautiful, have perfect order and cleanliness, have great success in love life, be accepted by everyone, do and achieve many things, always satisfy the needs of others, never say no, not to express his or her needs. So I hope you don't have too many of these. Sometimes in the seminars, people raise their hands and say, what do I do if I have all these prerequisites in order to be loved and acceptable? All of these have nothing to do with our self-worth. We've talked about in the class on self-acceptance and the lesson on self-acceptance. We need to get free from these illusions. Did they ever make you believe in some way that you are incapable of thinking, making decisions, or achieving things by yourself, and that you will always need to listen to advice and depend on others? Another problem we want to get free from. I do not know. Better not to make decisions. Better to do nothing. A lot of people that we see that we consider them lazy, they have had this experience. They're not lazy. They're just afraid to make choices, to commit themselves. Did you ever have role models, parents, older siblings, or others who were or are still are very dynamic and competent? Now, this can make us desire to become very competent, or it can make us leave the game, start taking drugs, not do anything with our lives because we've considered it's impossible. I can't measure up to that person. So this might cause us to seek to measure up and be equal or better, or the opposite, just go into depression and not do anything with our lives. Has there ever been in your environment someone with unexpected, unpredictable, nervous, or even schizophrenic behavior, possibly alcoholic or drug addict, so that you might not know what to expect from him or her? Has there been violence, physical or psychological? Now, this is a difficult experience because what happens is there is no cause and effect that we can see. Simply the other person becomes violent or rejecting or hurtful because of their state, not because of something that we did. So what happens here is that we become programmed to believe that danger is everywhere. And we have no signs. We don't know where it's going to come from. So this also needs to be healed. Have you ever felt rejection towards or shameful about one or both of your parents? Now, this is another situation we're going to have to heal, because whatever we reject in our parents, we'll probably find in our spouse or in our children or our friends or even our boss or co-workers, and we may even find it in ourselves. So we need to heal that and accept that our parents have many faults and accept them as souls in the process of evolution who have these faults, just as so many other parents and just as we have faults. Did you ever make the discovery that one of your parents had an extramarital affair? Now, this can affect us seriously also. We may feel guilty somehow. We may feel angry. We may feel fear of creating relationships. We may be sure that our spouse is going to do the same. We may do the same. There are so many ways people react to these situations. This needs to be healed. Did you ever feel that they told you one thing but did another? That there was no consistency between their words and actions, and they had a double standard, one for themselves and another for the others, or that they were hypocrites, false and not true? This will cause us to undermine our sense of trust. And we will grow up believing that people are not really saying the truth. And we may even end up doing the same. Upon what was your parents' security based? On money, others' opinions, education, personal power, the unity of the family together, property, one spouse, other. On what was your parents' sense of security based? And what did you get out of that? How are you programmed as far as security goes? Were you a spoiled child that had always had whatever you wanted and to whom no one ever refused a favor? If so, what effect did it have upon you? Are you still a spoiled child? Are you a brat? You get angry when people don't give you what you want? Probably not, but think about it. Did they suppress your freedom of movement and expression? Did they force you to do things you did not want to do? Study, visit, dress? Did they forbid you to do things you wanted to do? Assumptions, I must protect my freedom. Relationships are suppressive. So we grow up with a chip on our shoulder, always ready to answer back, always ready to say no and not to do what others are asking us because we fear we're losing our freedom. Now for women, now these separation of male and female programmings are much stronger as we go to the east and less as we go to the west. Now Greece, where I am, is somewhere in the middle, and it's changed in the last 45 years that I've been here, seriously changed so that there's greater equality. But some of those beliefs, Akoma, are there. That in some way, because you are a girl, you are worth less than a man. You are not safe without a man. Sex is dirty for women. It's great for men. In order to be socially acceptable, you must get married. You are less competent than men. Your only mission is to serve others. You must not express your needs, your feelings, or your opinions. You must submit yourself to your husband, and you must be beautiful physically to be acceptable. So these are some of the false programmings that come to women and to men about women also in our childhood years, which need to be healed. For men, do they make you in some way understand that since you are a boy, you must be strong, never cry, never show weakness. You must be superior, more competent, stronger, and more intelligent than your wife. Your worth is measured according to your sexual prowess. Your worth is measured according to your professional or financial success, and you must compare yourself to other men. So you see different programmings here for women and men. As I mentioned, in the West, they're less. As we go east, they're increased. So we want to heal any programmings that are created by these experiences. Now, one thing is the event, and the other is the experience. The event is what happens. The experience is the reality that we create within us based on the event, how we interpret it. So we want new perceptions of past, create a new past, and thus a new present and future. So when we go back and experience the past experience, this is called a regression, which we're not going to do now, and you'll need a professional help to do that. Relive that experience with the truths that we know now. Alternative perception with spiritual truths, with logic. And we go through this process of regressions, expression, catharsis, and transformation. As I mentioned, we do this in a 1-week seminar, live-in seminar here at our center, creating a new perception of the past. Now, Gary Craig gives us a certain image here with the EFT. He says, a belief is like a tabletop, and there may be hundreds of legs supporting that tabletop, and those are the experiences that cause me to believe that. Let's take the tabletop that says I'm not worthy, or I'm not safe, or I'm not able, or not capable, okay? Or I'm responsible for others. And each of these legs is an experience. So we don't do EFT or BSFF or other techniques for the tabletop. We do it one leg at a time. We choose an experience from the childhood years which support that. Let's say we have 100 of those experiences which support the false belief that we are not worthy. So in one session, we just cut one leg. Now, this may sound very time consuming, but the reality is it doesn't work if you put them all together. You need to work on one experience at a time. But what happens is the generality effect, and that is that if we cut 10 of these 100 legs, the table falls. So working one-on-one, each experience separately and changing it with EFT, BSFF, TAT, brain balancing, healing code, all of these methods can be used to heal and to remove these legs so that slowly the tabletop drops. And then we create a new tabletop. I am worthy. And we do that with inspired questions and answers. Why am I worthy? As I am. Why am I good? Why am I worthy of love and respect as I am? Because I'm a divine being. Because I seek to do the proper thing in each case. Because my self-worth is within and not depends on what other people do. Because other people were unhappy, had their own problems when they were rejecting me. We start to perceive those experiences in a different way. So we remove the old belief with EFT, BSFF, and TAT, cutting the legs, and then creating a new tabletop with legs that are the answers to the inspired question, why am I worthy of love and respect as I am? Now, as we continue, I remind you, I don't want you to accept anything I say simply because I say it. I believe what I say. I believe it's true. But I want you to feel free to accept or reject. So I remind you of the 4 categories of beliefs, quickly because you've been through this before. Emotionally charged impressions. Now these techniques are wonderful for healing those emotionally charged impressions, traumatic experiences from the past. So because when we don't heal them, the image goes to the lower brain and we just don't think about what's happening. When we do these techniques, we free ourselves from the traumatic experience and it goes to our logic and perception. Second, the false childhood conclusions that we discussed today. I am wrong, I am at fault, I am not worthy, I am not good, they do not love me, I am weak. You know, we have assumed many times that our parents don't love us, but I am sure there are many times that you have heard from your children that they believe that you don't love them, when what you were doing because you love them. Think of it. When you don't give your child whatever he or she wants, you don't love them? Is that the reason? When you discipline them or limit their freedom until a certain age for certain reasons of safety, you don't love them? So consider the fact that you might have made a lot of false assumptions about whether or not your parents love you or not, based on the ability of a child to understand why a parent does whatever he or she does. Remember also the image of the elephant that believes it cannot move away when actually it can. So you want to get free from these false perceptions. The third belief system is our evolving conscious belief system that we are good, worthy, able, and each is responsible for his or her own reality. What we have understood logically and consciously. And the fourth, we have already mentioned, our spiritual faith in reality is not proven to the senses or to science. That we are immortal, that everything happens for a reason. We are expressions of the divine. We have inner guidance, and life gives us only what is beneficial for our evolutionary process. And so we want to free ourselves from the first 2 systems and begin to perceive the events through logic and faith. I remind you, you will not be without emotional life. You will have a wonderful emotional life with gratitude, love, happiness. So the solution is to alter our perceptions of ourselves as divine consciousness, of others as divine consciousness, and events and situations as opportunities for growth. Now, before we do the exercise, let's remember how we create our external reality. You don't have to agree with me, but you think about it. I believe our reality is created by our previous thoughts, words, actions, and choices. And so if we're talking about childhood experiences, we may have acted before we were born. This is for you to choose, whether you can believe that you have acted before you were born or not. So what does that mean? It means that those situations that we talked about above, all those events, may have had their causality in our previous thoughts, words, and actions even before we were born. Our soul choices. So we may have actually made soul choices with those persons that were rejecting us, that were fighting between each other, that told us so many things, which made us feel we weren't lovable, that we may have made an agreement here for them to function in this way so that we could base our own sense of self-worth and security within ourselves and not in their approval or anything else outside of ourselves. So let's consider all of those events we mentioned above. They could be karmic, and there could be soul choices that we make. So thus there are times when a higher justice or wisdom manifests through an apparent injustice. We talked about a lot of injustices above, but maybe they weren't. Maybe they were a higher justice or wisdom that we chose as souls as an opportunity now to be listening to this and evolving through that. And the third aspect of creating our reality is the mirroring of our present thoughts, feelings, and choices. But those present thoughts, feelings, and choices basically are just the assumptions that we mentioned above, which we need to heal and change so that we can stop attracting the same situations. And remember, what creates our inner reality is actually what we believe, the importance and interpretation we give to every situation. So the events and situations that we mentioned above are not our reality. Our reality is the importance interpretation that we gave to every situation. And unfortunately, we gave these interpretations. I am not worthy, it's all my fault, I cannot, I do not know. And remember that a part of our pain body may resist this change that we want to make in our life. So what are we going to do? We're going to choose a childhood experience, do EFT for it, tapping in the back of the neck, going up, as you've done so many times, coming over the top of the head, energizing all of those points, and then the face points, tapping on all of those. I'm going quickly because you know this, and then the collarbone and wrist and side of the hands. Then we'll move on to the BSFF, always including the agreement with the subconscious, tapping on those points, and the agreement here with the subconscious. And then we're going to do the brain balancing hemisphere, the right ankle on the left, and the left ankle on the right, and then the hands on the heart center. Also refer to lessons 15 and 16 on forgiving ourselves and others using the TAT. We could have done TAT now, but I'm choosing, since we did that in 15 and 16, to do EFT, BSFF, and the alternative perceptions with the brain balancing posture. So our energy has become distorted by those emotions that we experienced in those childhood years, but also by food, thoughts, and way of life. And we want to recreate that harmony with proper food, exercise, breathing, relaxation, self-knowledge, energy psychology, positive thoughts, transformation of beliefs, and meditation. Okay? So what we want to do is discover the power within us. We have been made to feel weak, unworthy, unable. These are illusions. They have nothing to do with our true divine nature, our higher nature. So this work is actually a process of letting go of false assumptions, false beliefs, which have caused us to doubt our self-worth, to doubt our security, to doubt our intelligence, to doubt our wisdom, our ability to deal with situations. We want to get free. I remind you again, you can't put them all together. Choose one experience and work on healing that experience. Either as we're going to do now with EFT, BSFF, and alternative perceptions with the brain balancing, or the TAT, or the healing code. You have learned all of these methods if you have arrived here at this stage of the seminar. So you can take a straight position and we can work on this. Okay, you can sit with your spine straight and close your eyes. Let's do some deep breathing. With each breath, feel your spine becoming straighter, shoulders coming back, relaxed, face relaxing. Let the cheeks and the eyes relax. Now allow to flow through your mind childhood experiences which, when you think of them, you feel unpleasant. You might have felt rejection or fear or abandonment, injustice, guilt, anger, hurt. Choose one experience. And as you focus on it, remember the details. What happened? If anyone else was there. How you felt. How you feel now when you think about it. And let us accept these feelings and accept that we felt that way and that we feel this way. And accept ourselves. Now let us remember the agreement with the subconscious, with the inner child, the pain body, the higher self, the divine, that we are willing to become totally free from all effects of this experience on us, from all false beliefs, emotions, cell memories. We are willing and choose to become totally free from any emotional reaction to this experience and for any effects it has had on us, on our bodies or minds. And we thank the divine for this help. Now we rub on the sensitive point, and even though I felt, mention the emotion, when, mention the event, I love and accept myself. Even though I felt, when, I love and accept myself. Even though I feel, because I love and accept myself. Now on the other side, I choose to be free from this, mention the emotion, in regards to, mention the event. I accept to be free, mention the emotion and the event. It's in my benefit to be free, event, emotion. Okay, now, having the event and emotions in mind, tapping at the back of the neck, coming up, over the top of the head, to the forehead, going to the side of the head, having in mind the event and the emotions, coming up again, top of the head, forehead, 2 fingers at the bridge of the nose, coming to the side, temples, behind the ears, under the eyes, having in mind the emotions, above and below the lips, under the arms, collarbone, wrists, side of the hand, back of the neck. Focus on the event and the emotions coming up, top of the head, forehead, side of the head, neck again, changing the energy, coming up, top of the head, forehead, 2 fingers, the bridge of the nose, coming to the side, temples, behind the ears, under the eyes, above and below the lips, under the arms, collarbone, wrists, side of the hand. One more time. Focus on the event, the image, and the emotions. Coming up, top of the head, forehead, side of the head, lower the neck, above again, forehead, 2 fingers, bridge of the nose, sides, temples, behind the ears, under the eyes, lips above and below, under the arms, collarbones, wrists, side of the hand. Okay. Sit with the spine straight, relax. Take a few breaths, relax. Focus once again on the event. Just observe what you feel and accept whatever you feel. Remembering the agreement with the subconscious, inner child, pain body, higher self, the divine, that we are choosing to be free. We don't need to hold on to this anymore. We want to be free from all causes and all effects, so we never have to have this experience again. We thank the divine for this help. Now we're going to do BSFF. You can follow after me and repeat after me, tapping at the eyebrows. In relationship to this event, I let go of all pain and all causes and roots of pain in the subconscious, in this dimension, and all other dimensions, under the eyes. In relationship to this event, I let go of all fear and all causes and roots of fear in the subconscious, in this dimension, and all other dimensions. Always repeat after me. Index finger. In relationship to this event, I let go of all guilt, shame, rejection, and all causes and roots of guilt, of shame, of rejection, in the subconscious, in this dimension, and all other dimensions. Small finger. In relationship to this event, I let go of all anger and all causes and roots of anger in the subconscious, in this dimension, and all other dimensions. Forehead again. In relationship to this event, I let go of all trauma and all roots and memories of trauma in the subconscious, in this dimension, and all other dimensions. Index finger. I forgive myself for all participation in this event. I always did whatever I could, and I'm doing whatever I can. Small finger. I forgive others for their participation in this event. They were being controlled by their childhood experiences, their illusions, fears, attachments, and with our agreement as souls, perhaps even before we incarnated. Now sit with the spine straight. Close the eyes. Relax. Take a few deep breaths. Breathe slowly, breathe deeply. Allow the abdomen to relax. Allow the solar plexus to relax. The shoulders and arms. Allow the jaw to relax. And the muscles of the face, the cheeks to relax. And the eyes relax. And the forehead relaxes. And we can take the position of the brain balancing with the right ankle over the left, the right wrist over the left, but the fingers enmeshed, and the arms straight or folded. And relax in this position. Now let's bring to our minds alternative perceptions. If there were other people involved, let's remember that they are evolving souls with their own problems, with their own ignorance, doing the best they can, remembering that there is the possibility that we may have agreed on these situations. That life allows only what is in our benefit as souls in evolution to occur. And that we are divine beings. And our self-worth is absolute, unchanging, non-negotiable. Feel that self-worth. Feel it expanding within you. Filling the body and the mind. Feeling safe. Now you can change the ankles and the wrists. Take the position again and relax. What do you want to remember from now on when you think of that experience, that event? Do you want to remember who you really are, an expression of the divine? Do you want to remember that you're living in a universe which allows only what is in your benefit to occur? That this might have been a soul choice, an opportunity for growth. That your self-worth is absolute. Immutable. What do you want to think, to remember, so that you can be totally free from this event? Focus on your chosen perception. Begin to experience it. Imagine it as an energy flowing into your body, to all the cells, freeing you from any effect. Allow it to flow into the mind, freeing you. And experience freedom. Freedom from this past event, which doesn't exist anyway. It doesn't exist. It's just an interpretation. Now let us bring our palms to our chest. And once more again, bring to the mind the event. But as you do so, remember that you are an expression of the divine, divine consciousness, and feel a light in your chest, a sense of light and power, strength. Feel your self-worth as absolute. And feel totally free. Free from any effect of that event. Allow freedom. Allow even greater freedom. And allow the event to dissolve. It becomes transformed into light and dissolves. We have no need for it anymore. It dissolves into light and disappears. You are safe. Going to count from 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. I hope that you were able to feel free, totally free, because the event that we worked on doesn't exist. It's just something that we're holding on to and allowing it to bother us. Now there is the possibility that you may feel upset at this point because you focused on something which was unpleasant. If that is true, then please contact a professional, EFT practitioner, BSFF, TAT practitioner, energy psychology practitioner, or any psychologist to help you with the process of assimilating whatever may have come up. And don't overdo it. These exercises are better done in a controlled environment. where we can go much deeper than we did now. And but it's a necessary process because all of our beliefs are the result of these childhood experiences. So I hope you're feeling okay. And if you're not, please seek assistance in that. And I wish you to be happy and be well.